But yeah, it was really awkward. He's like that. Then there's another picture where this girl did the classic. I don't know who this guy is. She did that one. Who is this guy? The guy's wearing like an Ohio State vest, and literally everybody's talking to him like all the time. You know what I mean? And she's obviously in Ohio. It's like you didn't know that was the Ohio State head coach. But she did this thing where she posted him. They're taking a picture together. Urban is hammered in the picture, just hammered. And they say, she's like, who is this guy? He keeps flirting with me. And it's like, oh, yeah, you don't know. All right. All right, welcome to RC Sports. RC Sports, it's in the game. Trying to get to these like bi-weekly, that means every other week, not twice. Yeah, every other week. I'm trying to get to every other week. I would do it every week, but I already got a few shows and a job and other things. So I'm probably not going to be able to do that. But for now, bi-weekly sounds good. Gives me a lot to talk about, though. Had some people ask me some questions on Twitter that I could answer on the show. They asked me some very good ones. None shitting on the Raiders, thank God. Respectful viewership there, because I am hurting bad after what happened to my Raiders Monday night against the Chargers. One of my least favorite teams ever to exist. Fun fact about that. And the Raiders shit the bed. They went down 21-0 in the first half. They were running the clock out in the first half for whatever reason. Still managed to fuck that up, give up another touchdown. And I'm on same old Raiders watch. Like, you put me on a watch for like, I'm this close to saying same old Raiders, this close. Anyways, I have a whole nother podcast on this YouTube channel. Hit subscribe and check that out if you really want to see me cry about the Raiders loss. I just did a video about that yesterday. So, what am I here to talk about today? Let's talk about some cool things that happened in the NFL this weekend before I get into everything else in the show. Because today I want to talk about Urban Meyer. I don't know if you guys have been following that. I want to talk about Urban Meyer. And I also want to talk about the New England Patriots post Tom Brady and the Stephon Gilmore situation. And why that kind of stuff will happen after Brady leaves. You're going to see a lot more of that. And also, I'm going to examine the 2016 NFL draft. I think that'll be a fun thing to do on here for football stuff. I mean, typically, most of the stuff I do is going to be football. I might do a little bit of baseball, but for the most part, it's going to be football, college football. I might do a little NBA too, but I would need a guest help for that. So if you're an NBA guy and you want to come on the podcast, you got to be good, though. Be like a good NBA guy, not just like a LeBron fan or somebody with mental disabilities, like that. So you have to know a lot about the game, because I don't know that much about the NBA, like ins and outs and stuff like that. Like I know who's good, who's bad, but some of the people who know about like usage rate and shit like that, I want some of those people to come on. So if you are one of the very few people that watch these and that you fit the bill, just let me know. We could do it. Sounds good. But yeah, I'm going to look at the 2016 NFL draft, talk about maybe what could have been if certain teams made certain moves. There's very interesting picks in that one. And and other guys that were made that were later. Some of the draft busts are always fun to go over. So we're going to get into that. But let's go over the week 2 slate of games. It was weird because I was not ready for a shitty afternoon window and a great morning slate of games. Oh my gosh. You want to talk about great? Titans Jets. Fantastic game. Proud Derrick Henry and Corey Davis fantasy owner. Pretty much won the week for me in that game. Corey Davis has started over Devontae Smith. That looked bad for a while, but then Corey Davis had a crazy 55-yard bomb, touchdown, Zach Wilson on the run, electric play, and then Devontae Smith had an illegal touch because he's probably weighs about 35 pounds. Got knocked off his route, went out of bounds, came back in, made the catch. Can't do that in the NFL, turns out. And so that made me look like a genius, seeing as I knew that was going to happen. But that was a great game. That game went overtime. And Tennessee, horrible kick. They were kicking to tie, which that's got to be the most depressing field goal ever, is going out where you're like, I could tie it like the whole game, like where we can't win. We either tie or lose. Like I would probably miss that field goal too. Not on purpose, but just be like, you just don't have the will in that leg. You're just like, let me just hook this thing. Who gives a fuck? Let's get a beer, And then you had the Washington football team against the Atlanta Falcons in the Dome. Washington, J.D. McKissick. When J.D. pulls it out, you got a McKissick. You know what I'm saying? J.D. McKissick, that play was crazy. And he's one of those guys. If you're like a football guy, you know J.D. McKissick. If you are an NFL junkie, you're like, J.D. McKissick, that guy's dope. Always has been, was great with Seattle. Goes to Washington, really good. Because I remember Washington had Chris Thompson for a while, who was also a really like fun change of pace back, could, or even third down back, pick up the blitz, catch a ball. Like those guys are cool. I always love a good third down back, a good pass catching back. And J.D. McKissick, oh my gosh, horrible defense by the Falcons. J.D. McKissick made like one linebacker miss 4 yards down the field. And then you're like, oh, surely there's a safety back there. Surely there's a safety back there to just come like at least try to clean this play up. No, he like runs 20 yards untouched. Then somebody finally catches up to him at like the 4-yard line, not even like the 1 or 2. J.D. McKissick just jumps over the pylon. Crazy extension. Electric. I loved it. It was great. You had that. Let's see what else did I have going in the week 2 slate of games. Let's see. Week 4 slate of games. Have I been saying week 2 the whole time? I bet I have. Let's see. So yeah, what else do we have here? Let's see. Chiefs and Eagles. There was one. I got asked a question about Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to answer it right now. Is Patrick Mahomes overrated? I mean, my answer to that is no. I wish he was. I wish he was overrated, and I wish he actually sucked, being a Raider fan, having to deal with this. Did you ever see that picture of him trying to get the discount at the shoe store where he looks like some hype beast guy or like some dork hipster? Makes me mad. Makes me sick to my stomach. I don't know why. Just seeing him like that is just a visceral disgust when I see that. Just ugh. But anyways, Chiefs beat the Eagles 42-30. That game was interesting. Like I said, Devontae Smith with the illegal touch. But here's why I don't think Patrick Mahomes is overrated. Chiefs score 42 points. He's throwing the ball over the field, as you do on a team that you're better than. You should be able to throw on them, put up some points. But he put up a lot. 3 touchdowns to Tyreek Hill. And then, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who we all, as I said the last time with Gnocchi Wizard, he sucks. But, he got a touchdown. And then the Chiefs defense is so bad. Like, I don't think this is like the most, they won by 12 points. I don't see them blowing teams out more than that. Truly. And it would have to be like the bottom 3 teams in the NFL, like Lions, Texans, teams like that. I don't even think they're on the schedule. But Jalen Hurts, who, short week for Jalen Hurts. If you remember the previous Monday game before this game, he was horrible against Dallas. Like, and I'm not talking about like, oh man, he looks off. It's like, maybe this is Jalen Hurts, And I made a point where I saw Jalen Hurts throwing and I realized Gardner Minshew was the backup. And I'm like, dude, these guys are like the same quarterback. Like, remember, people forget, like Gardner Minshew had that like 5-week stretch where we're like, is this guy for real? Like, is this a guy? Like, is this gonna be one of those guys that like gets like a second contract, double-digit million a year? Like he could, we got to see more of it. And then you're like, obviously not. That didn't end up happening, and he was not worth it. But ends up going to the Eagles, and it's like it's crazy when teams have the same backup as like their starter. It's like the same guy and not even a drop off, and they play the same. It's wild. You don't see it anywhere else. Like you see Mitch Trubisky with Josh Allen. They play similar, right? They can both run, strong arms, not quite the accuracy that you'd want. but Josh Allen's just like way better than Mitch Trubisky. You know, shout out to Mitch Trubisky. You got a touchdown in that Texans game. I'm down for the Mitch redemption tour. But the Eagles are carving up the Chiefs, carving them up. I think at one point they even had a lead in the game. And I'm looking at the Chiefs. It's just like, it's not even like, bad call went their way. Like, lucky play by that receiver. It's like, no, they're just like wide open looks. And to me, it's just their defense looks progressively worse every year. But like it got hot down the stretch when they won the Super Bowl against the Niners, but they haven't drafted well. And I'll go to the 2016 draft. We'll talk about some other draft stuff, but they haven't drafted well. The Chiefs around it. Frank Clark, he has great production in the playoffs, but like in the regular season, he is an invisible man, like milk carton. Where is Frank Clark? Call this number if you see Frank Clark. We are very worried. We love him very much. You don't really. I mean, Chris Jones is a beast. Tyrann Mathieu is a beast. Other than that, who scares you on that defense? Daniel Sorensen, Charvarius Ward. Like I don't know. None of these guys scare me. So no, when we're talking about Patrick Mahomes, is Patrick Mahomes overrated? Absolutely not. I actually think he's the only reason they're good. I think they would stink otherwise. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce were already there when Patrick Mahomes got the starting job. They were already there. Since they've drafted Patrick Mahomes, they haven't drafted like one good impact offensive player. Unless I'm missing one. Like, yeah, Tyreek Hill, I can't stand the guy. And I have a hunch that he's probably not a very good person. But holy shit, dude, I don't think I've ever seen a more electric person like with the ball in his hand. Just fast. The speed. And it's not just a speed, it's like a physical speed. It's not just, like some elegant deer running. It's like this guy's a freight train, trash compacted, like those car compactors and stuff. It took Derrick Henry and just put him into a tiny little person, like compacted him down and then supercharged him. Like was like, okay, now that you're smaller, you get to be faster than Derrick Henry. And that was like, that's how it is. And Travis Kelce, I mean, we're talking about, maybe a top 3 tight end of all time. And some people might have him at 1, I don't even, here's the thing. He's not even the best Chiefs tight end of all time. Tony Gonzalez. Name the quarterbacks Tony Gonzalez played with. It's not a great list. But these guys have not surrounded Patrick Mahomes with that much talent. It's kind of wild. And that's why I think I don't want to say underrated. He's on every freaking commercial and stuff, but he's properly rated. He's properly rated as the best quarterback in the game. Like he's really good. Like I'd argue his coach is great. He's great, but he's kind of winning in spite of some lackluster talent on offense. We saw that offensive line break down in the Super Bowl last year against Tampa, and it's not that much better this year. Like, and they put some money into it. Like their talent evaluation is not that good as a franchise, and thank God, because they probably would go 17-0 if they were. Oh, all right, what else do we have? Panthers Cowboys. The Cowboys might be for real. They might be for real. Now, I actually think the Panthers are pretty good too. That defense is good. It's just I think the Cowboys might have figured a thing or two out on defense. They got a lot faster. They just cut Jalen Smith, who has been disappointing for them since he's returned from his injury. One of the worst injuries in Notre Dame history. Disgusting. Against Ohio State in a bowl game, I want to say. And, the Cowboys look really good. They look really good. And Dak's throwing the ball well. Zeke is running the ball. Like that offensive line is back. Zeke looks really good. Tony Pollard looks really good. Definitely Tony Pollard was like, the husband hiring like a hot waiter, like Artie Bucco in Sopranos, like where he hires like the chick that everybody's in love with to work the front desk, and Charmaine starts getting, oh, what the fuck? And then Charmaine, starts standing out a little bit more to everybody else and stuff. That's what Zeke is Charmaine Bucco. He's Charmaine Bucco with the septum piercing. Yeah, Zeke looks non-binary. I'll say it. But anyways, They look really good. I think their defense is a lot faster. Maybe there could be exposed a little bit on defense, but I don't know, man. That Micah Parsons pick is a home run. I knew it when they did it. I knew it wasn't maybe their most pressing need, but they just needed speed on defense, and they got it. And he can play multiple positions on defense. I think we're looking at a problem here if you're an NFC East person or just one of the 31 other fan bases that hate the Cowboys. But yeah, I wouldn't even be sour on the Panthers. They just picked up Stephon Gilmore. I'm not going to talk too much about that now, but that's a really good pickup for them. I think I don't think Gilmore is definitely not Defensive Player of the Year, Stephon Gilmore, but that's kind of scary. They even traded for C.J. Henderson, who didn't have a good game in this game. Amari Cooper torched him coming off a hamstring injury in the game. That's not good. When the guy's holding his hamstring earlier in the game, you're like, oh, shit, man. Then he comes back in, which is miraculous on his own. He just torches you. It's like tough scene. You got to start grabbing your hamstring when that happens, CJ. But yeah, if they had like those four guys, like, you know, two super young, talented guys, JC Horn's like already was good, kind of building a good secondary because their division is, you know, Matt Ryan, not quite the best quarterback, but they got some weapons there. And then you have Tampa, of course, with their three-headed monster receivers, and Brady's going to be playing for another 10 years anyways. The adrenochrome shipment just came in and looks like a loud pack this time. But yeah, that Cowboys, I was excited about that game. It kind of got ugly late, and then Panthers made it a little bit closer, but still really, really good. Giants and Saints. Daniel Jones. Is Daniel Jones gonna fool the Giants? You know, because I feel like him and Baker Mayfield are kind of on a similar trajectory. Now, Baker got a better offensive line earlier into his career, like I think, you know, last year, I guess I should say. But Daniel Jones was a year behind him in the draft, so maybe it's about the same time. But kind of seems like Daniel Jones is going to have, like, he's having a really good season this year. And when I didn't like the pick when they made the pick, and I was like, this guy's going to be a bust, man. I just don't see it. Like, what, drafting quarterbacks out of Duke? What's going on? But he throws a great deep ball. He's got a cannon, good on the intermediate routes. He just fumbles a lot. Him and Tony Banks, he broke Tony Banks' record for fastest to like getting to 20 fumbles in the NFL or something like that. Tony Banks, that's old school, by the way. He had a pit bull. You know what the pit bull's name was? Felony. There's some trivia for you. And yeah, I don't know. Hopefully you win a bar game with that one. But 27-21 Giants in this one. I even thought Jameis looked pretty solid, but the Saints are one of those teams as a betting man. I don't know if I could ever touch another game they play. They have played 4 completely different games, more so than any other team, where they just looked insanely different. Like, just, whoa, what's going on here, man? You know, like they beat the brakes off the Packers week 1. You're like, whoa, this Jameis thing looks like it is going to work. Then they get their ass kicked by the Panthers. You're like, oh, this is not going to work. And then what did they beat? They beat the Pats, but their defense kind of just rode that one. You know, turnovers off Mac Jones. You know, you don't know what to make of that game. And then this game, it's like Giants are kind of pesky, and you have to think them starting 0-3. If they had even just started, like, because they lost some close games, had they even just made that like one extra win, if they were just 2-2 right now, you'd be like, damn, it's kind of a pesky team. They got some fun wide receivers. Saquon looks like he's back. Their offensive line looks a little bit better. But it might just, that 0-3 might be too much of a hole. You always see the statistics of even the 0-2 teams never making the playoffs. But Giants are a team. I love them as underdogs. I think they were 8.5-point underdogs in this game. That was an easy bet. But like, yeah, the Saints, man, like, you can't touch them. The Jameis experience is just too wild. It's too wild. Doesn't matter the coach. Doesn't matter the defense. Jameis, when, you know, Jameis is like, I don't know what he is. He's like a team within himself. He has like full NFL seasons in one game where it's just triumphant, hit a lull, triumphant, fall off a cliff, finish strong sometimes. Like, it's an epic, almost like a Shakespearean type play. Watching him play, you just get every emotion in your body watching him. Afternoon slate of games. What did I miss? Oh, Browns Vikings. That was boring and lame. Kirk Cousins couldn't score any points. The day that ends in Y, I suppose. Even though I had been liking the way Kirk Cousins had been playing. But Justin Fields gets his first win against the Lions. That was pretty good. Yeah, I got nothing else for that game. The Lions are bad. Who knew? And Bengals over the Giants. That Thursday night game. That was a good Thursday night game. Urban Meyer got in a little trouble after that. But what else we got? Colts over Dolphins. Didn't watch a minute of that game. Didn't care to. Don't even care to look it up. Sorry. Afternoon slate of games. Cardinals and Rams. Rams got exposed. You hate to see it, but if you watch the Rams defense, you can run on them. You can. Aaron Donald sometimes guesses wrong in the run game because he tries to beat the guy. He tries to fool the guy in front of him rather than maybe see the play sometimes, like where the play is actually going. Sometimes he just completely makes the right read and just wrecks the game. Actually, more often than not, he probably does. But you saw that happen a little bit in this game, him kind of shooting the wrong gap and stuff. Kyler Murray, I've been a hater for a long time. But man, it's starting to look good. For the longest time, I bought into the he's too short. Can't see over his center. Can't see the middle of the field. Playbook's limited with him. You're relying on hero ball, but he looks like he's getting it done. Chase Edmonds was awesome in that game. He was another guy where you could just tell, kind of like J.D. McKissick, a little bit better, but like J.D. McKissick, where you're like, man, this like, if you watch football in depth, you're like, man, why isn't this guy like a Pro Bowler, you know? And you say why. Him and James Conner, like their run game is there. And then I don't think anybody had a better offseason than the Cardinals, and it's kind of the opposite of what the Rams have done, because you're looking at two teams that have built in different ways, right? The Arizona Cardinals are building around a rookie contract. I talked about this with Gnocchi Wizard last time. Do you want to build around a quarterback with a rookie contract, splurge on the other areas, hope the rookie's really good, and hope you can win in that window that you have them? Or do you want to build your team up with a couple superstars, some depth, and then go get a Matthew Stafford, trade the farm, try to win within that 1 to 2 year period, like the Rams are doing? They matched up the rookie quarterback contract, won that game, because you're able to bring in guys like J.J. Watt. AJ Green actually had a really nice game in that game. James Conner has been really good. You're able to bring these guys in. I believe they made some moves on their offensive line. I'm not remembering the names there, but they look good. They look really good. They play fast. Isaiah Simmons is kind of showing out in his second year. Byron Murphy's really good. Chandler Jones is Chandler Jones. JJ Watt, like that's Jordan Hicks. Like they got some ball players. Buda Baker. I was first to call them fraudulent because I didn't like Cliff and I didn't like Kyler that much, but you got to buy in now. They took it to the Rams. That wasn't even really a contest at all. And like I said, the Rams, it's interesting. If you take away their big play and put some pressure on Stafford, it looks a lot different. It looks like Lions Stafford sometimes. Bad Lions Stafford. Like it's something to watch. It's something to watch because even when the Rams were winning, like when they beat Tampa last week, I was like, okay, but Tampa lost a lot of their secondary. And what can you really take from that when, Cooper Kupp is going to fry your torch secondary, like the injured secondary. And that didn't happen against the Cardinals. That didn't happen. So Cardinals, I think they're hosting the Niners coming up, which might be a home game for the Niners because Arizona got a lot of Niner fans. It's going to be a lot of red either way. But if they can beat the Niners, who don't look good, because I'll get to their game next, they don't look good either. But yeah, that's Cardinals statement win. Seattle 28 over San Francisco. They play in Santa Clara. I don't know why you shouldn't be allowed to claim it a city 40 miles from where you play. Think the NFL needs to put their foot down like they did with taunting, which nobody asked for. Nobody under the age of 75 with an American flag in their driveway asked for. But I think they need to do something about, like, you got to be like 15 miles away maximum to call a city that, or claim that city, I should say. If you're 15 miles away from San Francisco, you can be San Francisco. If you're in like San Mateo or something like that, that's fine, no problem. Santa Clara, nah. That's like an hour and a half, 2 hour drive at rush hour, dude. It's not even close. Not even close. So Seattle beats the Niners. They own the Niners. I don't think Seattle looked all that good, to be honest, but the Niners just look really bad. Their defense just doesn't have that ferocity that it did a couple years ago. Last year they were injured, but coming off of that, they just don't have that same, just don't have that same allure to them as they did. Nick Bosa's still really good, but you just don't see it otherwise, And looks like Trey Lance is going to play this week. Jimmy G's out at practice today. This is Wednesday night that I'm recording this, so stuff could change. But even Trey Lance, it's like, dude, I was saying Trey Lance plays like Happy Gilmore. Like he is like throws it 100 miles an hour and it like hits a guy in a boat over in the perk ponds outside the stadium. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I saw him like throw a bubble screen that almost went into the first row. I was like, man, this guy throws heat. Like, put this guy on an MLB mound. He'd be like Rick Ankiel, if anybody remembers that when Rick Ankiel tried to pitch or came up as a pitcher. He was throwing like 97, nowhere near the plate. Like, it was kind of scary if you're a batter. But yeah, Seattle took it to them. They were up by more than one score for basically most of the second half. And the Niners got to get it going fast, or else they won't get it going, because Seattle, I don't believe, is all that great, but I think the Cardinals and the Rams are going to be at the top of that division fighting each other, and the Niners don't look better than either of those teams. I'll say that right now. All right, next up, Steelers and Packers. Big Ben sucks. This guy has to retire. I'm going to go through these games kind of fast. Rodgers look good. Aaron Jones look good. Packers look good. They look like the exact same team. They don't look any better or any worse, which means second round NFC exit every time. They look soft on defense, really good on offense, and Aaron Rodgers looks like he's kind of happy to be playing football. Kind of happy. Like, kind of like, I'll do it. I'll play, I guess. That's every year. Ravens and Broncos. Ravens 23, Broncos 7. The Broncos are who we thought they were, folks. You have Teddy Bridgewater as quarterback, and you didn't even have him the whole game. Drew Lock had to come in. I put on for my city, Drew Lock. Everybody remembered that really funny video that he did where he looked lame and like a loser, and everybody was like, wow, white boy can rap. And I was like, cringe as fuck. I'm screenshotting all of these because he sucks. He sucks. Okay. So he should be Drew locked away, like on the bench, putting shackles around him to where he cannot play because he stinks. And the Broncos hadn't played anybody. They finally played somebody, and somebody whooped their ass. That was the Ravens. Lamar looked really good in that game. Ravens defense looks a little healthier, looks better. They're going to be a contender in that division, fighting with Cleveland. That'll be pretty cool. And Sunday night, Bucks, Patriots. This is a weird one. I'm just going to fast forward to the end. I don't care about like the whole episode of This Is Us before with Brady and Kraft. I don't care. I had to put up with that for 20 years. Nobody likes it except Patriots fans. It's lame. No one cares. So cool, whatever. That happened. The game was extremely boring because it was raining. It was just sloppy, all that stuff. But I thought Mac Jones played well. Antonio Brown dropped a really good, perfect pass from Tom that would have like been an insane winning moment in Foxborough on his return. But Antonio Brown just dropped it. Maybe he's frostbitten on his hands this time. Not sure. But I like Mac Jones, actually. That's kind of like what I took out of this game. I'm like, man, I like Mac Jones. I did in college. I liked him a lot. I liked when the Patriots picked him. Everybody tells me he stinks. And here's a quick rant for you guys. I'm probably going to go long today on this episode, so all that stuff. This is going to sound like kind of like crotchety old white guy terms, like thinly veiled racist, but I don't think it is. I truly don't. But like, do you think the reason why a lot of these quarterbacks right now in this current rookie class this year are struggling is because we kind of forgot to draft people that know how to play quarterback, but more so we drafted athletes at the position. Like when I say we as a league, we're the league of the NFL. Like, Trey Lance, trade 3 first-round picks to go get Trey Lance. Like Trey Lance throws lawn darts, man, like 100-mile-an-hour lawn darts. like could seriously remove Gophers from Levi Stadium if he had to. Like just give him a little bit of pigskin and he'd be ready to go. Justin Fields looks really weird behind that quarterback. Like just everything looks like it takes a long time to happen. The processing issue is real. People were calling people racist for that. And it's like, no, that just happens to be a thing with rookie quarterbacks sometimes. Like maybe some people were being racist with it. I mean, to me, I like Justin Fields. I still think he's the second best quarterback in this draft behind Lawrence. And I still have a lot of faith in him, but I just think it's going to take a little bit of time. And, they traded 2 first-round picks to go get him. Niners trade 3 first-round picks to get Trey Lance, and neither of these guys look like solid starters this year. And the problem with the Niners is they kind of need him to be, Trey Lance to be a solid starter this year. The Bears don't necessarily need that this year from Justin Fields. I think we all knew this was going to be a little bit of a down year for them. Either way. But then the Bears don't have a first-round pick next year. If this is a down year, they cannot reap the rewards of that down year and have like maybe the 6th overall pick. Go get him like a left tackle, wide receiver, tight end, something. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. You kind of put yourself in a bind. You can't even like build now because you find out the rest of your team is not quite as good as the quarterback you think you drafted. And that quarterback's not even that good right now. But Mac Jones, man, just sits in the pocket. Makes throws that he has to make. He doesn't. Hey, he's not gonna. Is Mac Jones gonna win that game for you all the time? Probably not. He's not gonna make the huge throw you need. But if you build a good team around him on a rookie contract, he can spot you 21 points. I think once he really starts getting rolling, he'll get you about 21, 24 points a game. If you play some defense and can run the ball a little bit, you could turn that into 30 points. Hold the other team under 20. Like you can win now with that, is what I'm saying. And I think teams are chasing the Patrick Mahomes. And PFF has a thing called chasing unicorns, why you shouldn't do that. Like, don't go try to find the next Tyreek Hill. Just find the next good wide receiver. Don't try to find the next Patrick Mahomes. Find the next good quarterback. Okay? Don't be like, wow, this guy made that really good throw off one foot that one time against Utah in college at 9 p.m. West Coast time. Oh, my God. We have to draft him. No. Find the guy that once he plants his back foot, goes through his reads, finds that guy that he's looking for open, hits him with a good throw, draft that guy and can run a little bit. A lot of quarterbacks are athletic now too. Like even Mac Jones can run a little bit. Like Drew Bledsoes don't come out of college anymore. Guys, every quarterback I've seen drafted can run just a little bit. You don't see the Joe Flacco's coming out of college anymore. It's like that's a thing of the past. People are just too athletic now. One good thing about GMO, I guess, is that. But yeah, you're seeing these teams. They don't. Sometimes I think pocket passers are trad now, like traditional, and I think they're gonna come back in a major way because I think some teams went way too hard to try to find the next Patrick Mahomes. It's just like in basketball. If you try to draft the next Steph Curry, you're probably just going to get a guy who shoots like 23% and passes up good looks for like insane, off balance threes. So yeah, back to that game. At the end, I thought Bill Belichick had a beta move, and I haven't been impressed with how he's coached this year. I think you let Mac Jones try to get those 4 yards to in the rain, try to get Nick Folk a little bit closer. I know he's a good kicker, but I'd try to get him a little bit closer given the elements. And then Mac Jones getting that first down to get you in a way better range. It gives him that moment against Brady. And if you don't get it, it's like, okay, then you didn't get it. You're being aggressive. Not a big deal. So that to me, I thought was kind of a weird part about that game. And Patriots are having trouble running the ball too, which I didn't think. And I didn't think that was going to be the case. And boy, the Bills are going to run away with that division. That's all I can say about that. Because I didn't even talk about Bills and Texans. I don't think I have to. Bills are just insanely good. All right. Monday night, I already talked about it. I did a whole podcast on it, but I hate myself and I want to die. Okay. Yeah, Raiders lost. So back to the Patriots. So let's talk about this real fast. The Patriots, I got this so wrong when Brady left. I was so wrong. I said, man, I don't think Tom's that good. I think Bill's going to just keep it moving. Maybe not win Super Bowl right away after Tom leaves, but I'm kind of like, nah, Belichick, he's the reason Brady was good in my head saying that. I couldn't be more wrong because I think Bill Belichick doesn't even know what the hell he's doing. He really doesn't. And you're seeing guys like Stephon Gilmore. He wants out because Belichick wants to play hardball. Belichick's trying to do I'm not giving you this money. I think they were trying to play him a little faster than Gilmore was ready to play too because he's injured. Belichick's like, dude, need you now, dude. Come on, let's go. And he's like, no, man, I'm not. And I think Belichick was able to be a hard ass because he had the god Tom Brady. He's like, look, I got Brady. Do you want to win? Because he's gonna win. If you're gonna win, you got to let me be a dickhead to you. Like that makes sense. He doesn't have that anymore. And like I said, I like Mac Jones, but I'm not gonna. I think we're a long way away from being like, dude, we have Mac Jones. We're ready to win. What do you bring into us? He doesn't have that, ace in the hole anymore. He doesn't have the Brady card to play. So, yeah, I don't know about that. And I had a question from Astro Black, 3 C's on that, no K's. He says, why, he tries to, he does the cocky Boston thing where he's like, why did the New England Patriots draft Tom Brady's regenerated Tom Brady, I guess. And how come they will win 6 more Super Bowls? And it's like, dude, I don't see the Patriots winning for a long time. I just don't. I like them this year. I actually thought they were a dark horse to challenge the Bills, but I don't see it anymore. They just don't have that firepower on offense. And I like Mac Jones. I just like Nelson Aguilar is your number 1, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Henry, and Jonnu Smith. I mean, it's okay. Sure. They spent a lot of money on that too. I don't know, man. I don't know about these Pats. I think Tom Brady, he bought Bitcoin at the top, but I think he sold the Patriots at the top. That's all I'm going to say. So let's see. What else do we have here? Sam Darnold. This is from Alex. Bone Man. Bones with a 0. The 0. O is a 0. Sam Darnold, best dual threat quarterback in the league. How about that, dude? Sam Darnold, for a while, I didn't check to see if it still stayed that way, but he had the most rushing touchdowns in the league in the first quarter of that Cowboys game. The guy can run. I'm not a Sam Darnold fan at all. In fact, I don't think he's a dual threat. I think he's one threat. I think he can just run. No, he's not that bad of a thrower, passer. I don't think he's like that bad. But I've always thought he was kind of overrated. Like he kind of just got all this praise at USC when I was kind of like, I never really thought he was that good. But yeah, no, hey, Carolina, that's a 3-1 team. And I think he's another guy. Daniel Jones, right? Is Daniel Jones, like I was saying, is he going to fool the Giants into that second deal? Right? I think Baker Mayfield's going to fool the Browns into a second deal where they pay way too much. And then you realize, fuck, I don't like this guy at this price tag. Carolina's going to have to pay Sam Darnold if he's good. Or they're going to have to throw their nuts on the table and be like, dude, we're good. You're not. Go to Houston next year and see what you can do. Bet it sucks. You put yourself in that predicament. That's going to get real interesting. Because a lot of these quarterbacks are starting to like, oh, hey, contract time's coming up. Let me decide to play good football. And let's go up here to Headache. Mr. John Butler-Sean, guest of RareCandy, 3-time guest of RareCandy. So he says, Urban Meyer, the incident, based or cringe? Okay. A lot to unpack here. Let me just explain the situation here. Urban Meyer, they lose Thursday night. Jaguars lose Thursday night against the Bengals. He goes out to a party. I'm sure of what it was, like a party for like a close friend of his or something. I think he went back to Ohio because he was with the Bengals, or they were at the Bengals. So then he ended up staying in Cincinnati, partying there. He gets seen dancing with a girl who looked like a college girl, like she was young. She's like grinding on him, and it was really funny. If you see the video, maybe I'll put it in here. But like, if you see the video, he's got his forearms in front of his dick, like no cock confidence. If you ask Alpha Rivellino, just no cock confidence. Mainly because he probably thought somebody was filming, and this girl's kind of like grinding on him and stuff, like dancing. I don't know. She was dancing the way like a chick dances, like Dirks Bentley. You know what I mean? Like it was that type of move. Do with that what you will. I'll put the video in again and dancing. And you're like, oh, what the fuck? And like it was just funny in my head. I was just hearing like, you're dancing real close, making it hard for me. Like that would be a funny video edit if anybody's into that sort of thing. But yeah, it was really awkward. He's like that. Then there's another picture where this girl did the classic. I don't know who this guy is. That one. Who is this guy? The guy's wearing like an Ohio State vest, and literally everybody's talking to him like all the time. You know what I mean? And she's obviously in Ohio. It's like you didn't know that was the Ohio State head coach. But she did this thing where she posted him. They're taking a picture together. Urban is hammered in the picture, just hammered. And they say, she's like, who is this guy? He keeps flirting with me. And it's like, oh yeah, you don't know. All right. Okay. That gets Urban in a little bit of hot water. Urban Meyer, who has been only in hot water since he started in the league. He hired a guy. I remember everybody was saying the coach was racist, like yelling slurs and stuff at camp. And then they got rid of that guy. They suck. So then there's that, like being 0-4. Then you get this situation. We're not even a quarter away into the brand new 17-game NFL season, and Urban Meyer's in a lot of trouble. But the funny part about it was Urban Meyer's wife, like he took a picture with the fellas, which I feel like is a classic guy move. You know what I mean? When you're going out and you know you're going to do some dirt, you're like, well, let me take a picture and post it with the fellas, like me and the four fellas. And they're like, then that way your wife's scrolling through the thing and she's like, oh, okay. Like, cool. He's hanging out with Timmy, Greg, and, Blake. And so then she quote tweets it and she's like, meanwhile, I'm babysitting, and it's her like with two like little kids having fun, cute little hangout that they're doing. And it's like everybody finds that tweet the next day after they see all this shit come out from Urban Meyer. And it's like, yikes. Tough scene. But to answer Headache's question here, Urban Meyer, the incident, based or cringe? See, I think it's based if you're in college. If you're a college head coach, if he was still at Ohio State, based, because that's a college town. He's doing college things in a college town. Absolutely cringe in the NFL, dude. You got to be way more fancy with that. You got to be doing some like meet me at this hotel, you know what I mean, doing all that, a hotel room here, blah blah blah. You gotta do that. I feel like you gotta be way more low key. He's doing April NFL behavior in September. That's kind of something you'd be doing during April when nobody gives a shit where you're at. It's just a bad coaching decision once again, right? So Headache also asks, extremely overrated. Oh, no, Patrick Mahomes is extremely overrated. I already talked about that. Justin Fields, cut, or is he an NFL journeyman in 2 years? Damn, are you putting the Tyrod Taylor label on Justin Fields? Are you putting the God, who's another? The Charlie Whitehurst? Are you putting that on there? Are you putting that label on Justin Fields? No, not yet. It doesn't look good right now. And I'm saying this as somebody who's a Raider fan, very nervous that there's a non-0% chance that Justin Fields could just have like an insane 5-touchdown game coming out party where I have to hear about it all week, him slicing up my team. So I won't be too harsh, but he's missing like a lot of easy reads. His coach is not putting him in a good situation, but he's also not doing anything to help that case. So I don't know, man. I don't know. That seems kind of tough to call right now. I will say it's got to look better than it does now by the end of the year, or else people will start asking questions. Ohio State quarterbacks can't name a lot of successful ones. You really can't. And I think a lot of it has to do with the, Urban Meyer offense that they were running, because it doesn't work in the NFL either. So I know Darrell Bell was calling the plays, but still, cut or journeyman in 2 years. Yeah, I don't know about that. I think he's going to end up at least becoming a solid quarterback. I think he's going to be a solid quarterback in the NFL. It looks alarmingly bad, and I thought he was as good as Trevor Lawrence coming out. Like, I really did. I was like, Trevor Lawrence is really good. I think Justin Fields is, if just maybe the smallest smidge behind him. And I don't know, man. Like, he holds the ball, I think, 0.4 seconds longer than the league average. And 0.4 seconds in the NFL when you're holding the ball, when 4 to 5 people are just pinning their ears back and running after you. That's like a dog year, 0.4 seconds. All right. So that's a long time to be holding the ball is what I'm saying. Let's see it. I get anything else? Spencer Latu, another former guest of RareCandy, says, who do I start at wide receiver? Cordero Patterson versus the Jets or Antonio Brown versus Miami? I say C Pat. Ride the wave, dude. That guy's electric. Like, I always loved him coming out of the backfield when he was with the Raiders. They did some fun things with him out of the backfield. I think he had 3 touchdowns last week? Ride that wave, dude. Antonio Brown going against Miami. The Bucks passing game looks a little bit weird the last couple of weeks, like not quite in sync. And Miami's got good man corners. Could get a little tricky. So I say start Patterson. Guybrush Threepwood. He says, best stadium in the country, better to watch in person or watching them from the comfort of your home. There's 2 questions. Best stadium in the country. I haven't been to that. I've only been to one NFL stadium, and that's the Oakland Coliseum. That was not the best stadium, but I loved it. Absolutely loved it. This is an interesting question here. Better to watch in person or watching from the comfort of your home? My take is that if you don't have an amazing seat, and I'm talking 50-yard line, probably you don't want to be very close to the field because you can't see anything. You want to have that full, like, bird's eye kind of view of it. Bird's eye, wide angle. That's not the right word. Bird's eye is way too high. Wide angle. Kind of, you want to be able to see the whole field. So you want to be in between the 40s, but back ways. And if I don't have that seat, I'm down to be at the house cussing up a storm. I just, to me, it's not worth the money. Like, it's insane. You'd get in the Raider Stadium. This year was like $700, man, for like cool seats, solid seats. 4 digits if you're trying to get real crazy in Vegas. So yeah, I prefer that personally. Like, if I don't have a great seat, I'm in the house. So let's see what else am I getting to today? I think that's all the questions that I have. So let's go to I think this is gonna be fun. I want to talk about I like going through NFL drafts. I do this for fun every so often. Like, not recording, I should say. Let's see. Okay, so we're picking the 2016 NFL draft. I wanted to pick something kind of close. Maybe I'll do like a super old school one, like from like the late 90s or early 2000s later. But 2016 NFL draft is you're seeing guys get paid a lot of money from this draft now. And you're seeing if that was a good idea with their current team, or if they're on a different team now, team gave up on them too soon. And then you're also seeing who was picked around them, because you might remember a certain player from the 2016 draft. Like, ooh, that guy went high. Man, he sucked. But then you're like, ooh, who got picked right after him? Was it like a Hall of Famer or somebody who's an all-pro? And sometimes it is. So 2016 NFL draft, let's go through some of the picks. We had 2 trades to the top, first and second pick. So Tennessee traded down with the Rams. It was Rams' first year in LA. They wanted to make a big splash. They traded all the way up to the number 1 pick. They gave up, I think, 2 more first-round picks. It was crazy. They haven't had a first-round pick in forever, the Rams. Forever. I think Jared Goff might have been their last first-round pick, which is crazy. So they drafted him out of Cal, number 1 pick. He's on the Lions now, and he just got traded for Matthew Stafford, plus 2 more first-round picks. So been a lot of first-round picks attached to Jared Goff's name in one way or another. Second pick, Carson Wentz, North Dakota State. I remember everybody was like, is this going to be good? Like, this guy's Division II. Like, what? Come on. What? Like, don't draft a Division II guy, 2nd overall. Philadelphia traded all the way up with Cleveland to go get him to number 2. And like, those guys right now, I'd say are bottom tier quarterbacks in the league. It's funny how that works, right? Look at Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota, I believe was the year before. Or maybe the year after, I can't remember, but it was something around that time. They went 1 and 2. It's like, man, you hear all this hype about the 1st and 2nd overall pick of quarterbacks, and half the time it feels like they're not even that crazy. 3rd overall, San Diego Chargers, Joey Bosa, Ohio State, monster. Just saw him wreck Derek Carr. Hurt his feelings too. Come on, Joey. Don't come on, man. And we need him for the year. And this gets really interesting right here, because this is kind of the whole reason I want to talk about this draft. There is one pick in the top 5 a lot of times that really affects everybody else's draft, affects your team's team building situation, and really shakes everything up. Ezekiel Elliott, 4th overall to the Cowboys. I remember at the time, everyone's like, dude, wow, this guy's going to be a beast. All right. And I said it too. I'm like, this guy's going to be a beast. But now you're starting to see why people say, do not take a running back in the first round, and damn sure don't take him in the top 5. Leonard Fournette went, I believe, the next year. I think he was like 4th overall or something like that. Like these are, and now Dallas is good, right? Dallas is a pretty solid team, but you wonder, all right, let's look at the three people that went after Ezekiel Elliott. The 3 players that went after Ezekiel Elliott: Jalen Ramsey, Ronnie Stanley, DeForest Buckner. So yeah, Zeke Elliott, right? If you're a fantasy football guy, you're like, oh, hell yeah, dude, I have Zeke Elliott. This guy's amazing. He actually had a really good game. He had 2 touchdowns last game, I think. He's had a really nice year for them. But Jalen Ramsey on that Cowboys team, the Cowboys were building something then, in 2016. I think they went pretty deep that year. And having that lockdown corner, those defenses weren't really all that good with the Cowboys. But if you had that lockdown corner, and Jalen Ramsey was good right away when he came into the NFL. If you had that lockdown corner, man, you definitely were making some moves if you're the Cowboys. A lot more moves than if you just signed a running back, like an average running back behind that loaded offensive line. There's a good saying that I hear a lot of people say is, if your running game sucks, the worst thing you can do to fix it is draft a running back. Invest in your offensive line. The Cowboys already had. They already had invested in their O-line. So using that 4th overall pick when you know your offensive line is what makes the running game go. Again, you drafted a Pro Bowler, a guy that's probably going to be a guy talked about for a long time. But Ronnie Stanley could have been a stalwart left tackle. I get why the Cowboys wouldn't draft him. They already had Tyron Smith and guys like that. Like that makes sense to me. But DeForest Buckner, defensive end. You kidding me? Game record. So that's something that really, and then look, Zeke Elliott right now, right? They paid him, which is the worst part of all that. Tony Pollard is a beast. Tony Pollard is very efficient. He could run the ball for the Cowboys right now. Zeke was not a guy you had to pay. And some people will say, well, from a team building organization, you're going to want a guy who can sell jerseys, right? Kids are going to be wearing number 21 Cowboys jerseys. Like, I get that. I understand. But, maybe they're going to buy Dak Prescott jerseys instead. Maybe they would have bought a Jalen Ramsey jersey. There's just certain things that, man, like the Cowboys, that might have been the X factor in the Cowboys winning something. That's all I'm going to say. Other picks, Leonard Floyd, drafted way too high, still a solid pro. Eli Apple, 10th overall. Wow, I forgot he went that high. I really did. Still in the league, but man, like I remember really liking him at Ohio State. Ohio State defense was amazing with him and Bosa. Zeke Elliott on the offensive side. Sheldon Rankins, good defensive tackle with the Saints there. Carl Joseph to the Raiders, another classic Raider reach. Corey Coleman. This is one of those things where, like, if you're Cleveland, right? Here's another thing that shakes up the draft. Do you think Cleveland? It's always good to trade down and get more picks, but when you suck at drafting like the way Cleveland did, they traded down from number 2 to go get Corey Coleman at 15. It's insane. It's insane for them to get to have to get that. Like I'm at a loss for it. Corey Coleman was terrible. But like, what if they were just like, screw it, let's just get Joey Bosa. Let's just get Joey Bosa. That's it. We drafted a good player. Didn't overthink it. Hell, even one of those quarterbacks would have been better for them. Truly. Even one of those quarterbacks. And man, that's the type of stuff. My team does that too. The Raiders do that a lot. They trade down 10 picks, draft DJ Hayden. They do stuff like that. But man, that's something like had Cleveland just stayed where they were and just picked like a no-brainer, because the first 7 picks of this draft all made a Pro Bowl. 13th overall. 13th overall. Anyone remember the Laramie Tunsil bong, gas mask bong story? He should have been number 1, or at least like number 3. The teams were all over him. Teams were all over him. That was funny. I think his uncle leaked that. Like, I was like on some hater shit, which is funny. Rest of the draft is, William Jackson's a good player. Laquan Treadwell, there's a bust for the Vikings. Josh Doxson, there's a bust. Will Fuller, good player. Heard a lot. Houston, that was good at the time because he had Hopkins. I totally understood that pick. Keanu Neal's solid player for the Falcons. Then, let's go to the second round here. Second round, Chris Jones, man. How does that guy sneak into the second round? Or I say slip to the second round, I should say. Guy should have been taken right after Joey Bosa, right around Ramsey and Bosa. I mean, it's crazy how some guys, and I remember in college, he was good too at Mississippi State. He was really good. And they churn out good pros at Mississippi State. Him and Fletcher Cox. I think there's a few other guys too that I'm missing, but yeah, they have good. Cameron Dantzler's solid. Jonathan Abrams having a better year. Like, they're pretty good. Xavier Howard, and that might have been the last good Chiefs draft pick, honestly. Chris Jones, I'm kidding. They've had okay draft picks since then, but Xavier Howard, really good player in the second round. This one killed me. The Raiders, man. 3 picks. The Raiders take Jihad Ward. Cool name, right? Jihad. Very cool name for a defensive end. Wreaking havoc, right? Love it. This is the second round. 44 and then 45, 46. You have Jihad Ward. Then the next pick is Derrick Henry. Next pick is Ashawn Robinson. Really solid defensive lineman. Would have been a lot more solid than the defensive line that was Jihad Ward. And then on 47th pick, Michael Thomas, which I know he hasn't played in a while. He's been hurt and stuff, but he was damn good for a long time. And that was that Raider team that had Amari Cooper, Michael Crabtree. You would have had Michael Thomas as your third wide receiver, the rookie. I don't think teams would have been able to stop that. A lot better than Seth Roberts, I'll tell you that much. Just things like that, man. You see the Browns and the Raiders just really botching this draft. The second round was loaded. James Bradbury goes back into the second round. You're talking about a top paid corner, great corner for Carolina right now. Or I'm sorry, the New York Giants. I was saying with Carolina earlier. New York Giants. I'm dumb. He was with Carolina. Dumb. Kevin Byard, Yannick Ngakoue. Very good draft. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. Like, I like doing draft what ifs. I think I'm going to keep going with that. And that's good. That was a lot. So going solo is always tough, man. I don't know. Colin Cowherd he preps for like 3 hours to talk for 3 hours. It's insane every day. Rush Limbaugh had to do a bunch of opiates to do this every day. I took 1 hit of a weed pen, if you couldn't tell. And I'm beat. That's it for me. It's RC Sports. It's in the game. I'm at Glen Rockney on Twitter. Got another podcast called RareCandy. You might have, as a subscriber to this channel, you might have remembered that podcast moved to Rumble. We said too many bad words about things you're not supposed to say bad words about. So that's over there on Rumble. If you go to the RareCandy Pod 1, it's at RareCandy Pod 1 Twitter. Click the links there. Rumble is in the description of the link tree in there. And subscribe to this channel. This one's pretty much going to be a sports channel from now on. So we're just going to be doing stuff like that. So, appreciate it, guys. If you ever have any questions you want me to answer, RC Sports, just tweet at RareCandyPod1 or at Glen Rockney. It doesn't matter, either one. And I'd be happy to answer those. And like I said, if you know a thing or two about basketball is coming up. If you're one of those basketball hoop heads that knows all this stuff and isn't like a 13-year-old with a LeBron Team USA jersey on, I'm down. Slide through. It'll be fun. Love talking ball. So that's it for me, guys. Everybody have a safe week.